What have you seen as you're counseling people, helping them, talking to them, as people's biggest obstacle to changing their situation?
People's biggest obstacle are themselves. Just think about it. We're in America. As much as people say whatever they want in America, I tell people this. I'd rather be poor here
Amen.
than any place else.
Amen.
You couldn't get me to go anyplace else. So mindset is the biggest thing that prohibits a lot of people from getting to the destination in life that they want to. The second that they flip that switch and decide like, hey, I want to do whatever it takes and put in the work, I guarantee you, her won't stop you from getting to that destination.
All right, guys, thanks for jumping on another episode of Punch Me in the Face. I got my man, André Volcy. Did I do that right?
You butchered it, but
okay, give it to me again. Give it to me again.
Volcy.
Volcy.
There you go.
André Volcy.
There
all
you
right,
go.
my man. Well, first of all, thank you for correcting me.
No worries.
That's the other thing. You know, you sit like, I had a guy the other day. The first time I was looking to sell a company, the private equity guy said to me, what's your EBITDA? And I said, what does that mean? And he said, earning before income tax, depreciation, amortization. I said, why don't you just say my net income? Because my business, you know, has no amortization. Like, why do you have to be so smart? But if you don't know something, you got to ask, right? And always stand up for yourself and what you're doing. So, André, what we're going to talk about today and why I was intrigued about having you on, my passion in life, literally, is like when I was real young, I watched my mom struggle immensely. I watched my mom with no education, no financial education, no academic education. I had a brother. She had a child at 17 who died. Then she had me at 19, my brother at 21. Okay. And my mom worked 3 jobs. And I always, you know, I went on in life and built businesses and had success and had failures. But the biggest success in business I've had is the business I built last, which is a life insurance company. People say to me all the time, why was it so successful? I said, because I created so many people that make 6 and 7 figures. The struggle though, André, which we're going to talk about today. And if, when I launched this podcast about 6 months ago, I said, if I don't believe in what somebody's doing, I won't promote them because that would be wrong. Does that make sense? There's a lot of folks out there on the internet that are promoting their stuff, and a lot of it has no value. It just doesn't, you know? And the reality is the people are better off keeping their money than throwing it away. But real information is powerful to have, right? Because it's knowledge, right? But it's got to be real. So I want you to start off. Tell us about you, your background, how you got to where you are now, what you're doing. I will get into some questions I got for you for our viewers.
All right, folks. My name is André J. Volcy. I am a Haitian immigrant, and luckily enough, I'm in South Florida, so this is my stomping ground. My parents immigrated with us when I was like, 4 or 5 years old. Came here, as most immigrants do, struggled to gain traction, you know, get a job. So my parents were migrant farmers when they first touched down. They would jump on a bus, head down to a city called Homestead, pick crops, get back on the bus, pick us up from our grandmother's house, and then that was their story. But my parents' struggle in the beginning journey here in the States instilled a lot of core values in myself. And some of those core values are what I use to carry on in my business. And that's why I'm surrounded by amazing people like my guy, Herb over here, Mr. Success Navigator. So one of the most important things 3 important things that my parents taught me was this. Number 1, the power of leverage. My parents picked crops, and they became homeowners within the first 2 years of them being in the U.S. And the way they were able to do that is, in our community, there's something called a savings pool. It's called ESSO, where a bunch of people would get together in a tight-knit community and create their own community bank. And the way it would work is everybody would decide a certain amount. Hey, I'm going to pitch in $200 a week. Everybody agreed to it, and then the pot will go all the way around. So basically, my parents were able to make a year's salary within the first month because they were in front of the pool. And this was the 80s. They took that money, they went and they bought their first home. And they also did this. They rented out the extra rooms in there and told me and my siblings, hey, well, at the time it was me and my sister, hey, you guys are sleeping with us. So now you have a 4-bedroom house. You're renting out 3 of the rooms. You're making more from that than the income that you made.
What year was that?
This was like, let's say 86, 87.
It was ahead of Airbnb. They had their own Airbnb.
Hey, nothing's new under the sun.
Amen.
So my parents used leverage to change basically the fabric of our family's lives. So that's one of the core principles. Number 2, what my parents taught me was this. Your life could change in a short amount of time. Just think about that. You're struggling. How long would it have taken my parents to save up the money to buy a house? That was a year's worth of salary. And most people forget about it, especially no credit, no W-2 job. You're picking crops. Most likely it would have happened at a later date. So lesson number 1 is the power of leverage. Lesson number 2 is your life can change in a short amount of time if you're willing to put in the work. And the third thing is this, the power of not forgetting your tribe. And what I mean by that is my dad touched down first, worked here, sent to go get my grandmother, myself, my sister, my aunt, my entire family. So, and I tell people, what people say, why don't you say, don't forget your tribe or the power of family? And what I tell people is this, you can't pick your family, but you can pick your tribe. Mm-hmm. You can pick this guy, yourself. The family that you craft oftentimes will stick with you longer, will go through the ups and downs, will fight for you harder, will believe in you than your own blood. So I really believe in those core dynamics, and I'm glad my parents instilled that in me.
Love it. Well, first of all, and I think one of the big things about what we do, and I think it's good that you roll with Herb. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. Look how big he is, man. The guy's a monster over here. You can but you flip him over here. We need another camera for him, dude. Put a camera on him. Spin something around. I want to see it. And he didn't play football. How the hell that happened, Herb? How the hell you not play football? Look at him. God put him on the earth to play football. I mean, to make money doing other things. But look at this man right here. You play ball at all?
Not at all.
Not at all. Man, how old are you now? Oh, shit, we should start playing again, dude. I'm 50, but I'll run behind you now. Let's do it, bro. I'm totally in. So, all right. Well, I said he's a great guy, by the way. Great energy. Both have great energy. When you're picking your tribe, that's a big deal for me, right? Like, when I was growing up, I didn't have, your mom and dad shared a lot of the information. You got to see a real life example of, we don't want to be here, but we got to go with what we got. Extra rooms, this over here, being out in front with the money. I found coaches that were in a better position than me and ingratiated myself to them so they could mentor me. When you're talking to people, and this is a free tip. When people tell their story, like you just told yours, the reason it's most likely accurate, which I'm sure it is the detail with which he provides and the way he talks about it. Right? Everybody has their own delivery, but you have to know, because a lot of y'all are out there and you've started a tribe. You don't even know it. You're paying other people, connecting with them, and getting information from them. And the reality is that they actually haven't ever experienced what you're going through. So when I was a social worker, I was 21 years old. I get a job, Department of Children and Families. They're like, here's your file, here's your training. Go knock on people's doors and tell them how to parent their kids. The very first thing I said to every household, Andre, they opened the door. My very first client, she ripped the door open. She looked at me, she said, "Who the fuck are you?" And I said, "My name is Shawn. I work with the Department of Children and Families, state of Connecticut." She said, "Boy, I have underwear older than you." And I said, "Ma'am, I don't know how to respond to that. That's not like in my social work handbook." I said, "But let me let you know something. I'm 21 years old. I ain't got no kids. I wasn't even raised in a household with like family dinners. It was a single mom. I don't know I don't know anything about raising kids. I probably drank too much last night because I tend to drink a lot. I'm 21. But I will tell you that I'm only here to make sure your kids are safe. And I will learn from you about parenting and family as I'm working here. Now, if you're out to protect your kids, I'll be the best fan you ever have. We're going to be good. But if you're out to harm them, I am on their side. And I always try to instill that in people because you started with that. Here's what I've been through. Here's where I was. Here's what I watched. Because the biggest issue for me that I see with people is financial illiteracy. Like, everybody wants to get in real estate. I was a guy the other day, and he's like, what do you think about me doing Airbnbs in Orlando? I go, dude, there's 27,000 of them on there. They rent for like nothing a night. There's so much supply, there's no demand. But everybody gets caught up, and they pay for these courses. And nobody in the course tells them anything a lot of times. They just want them to give them money. You have a passion to educate people, right? Big part of that is what you just said about your family, because your mom and dad would have not gotten there without doing that. What have you seen as you're working with people as the biggest obstacle for them changing? Because my goal, Andre, was, dude, I don't want to be poor. It didn't make me less of a man. I didn't want to be poor. I wanted to take care of my kids. I didn't want to worry about money. I didn't want to be stressed out like my family. Everybody's like, man, they die young. I was like, yeah, they broke as shit. They're really stressed out. What have you seen as you're counseling people, helping them, talking to them, as people's biggest obstacle to changing their situation?
People's biggest obstacle are themselves. Just think about it. We're in America. As much as people say whatever they want in America, I tell people this. I'd rather be poor here
Amen.
than any place else.
Amen.
You couldn't get me to go anyplace else. So mindset is the biggest thing that prohibits a lot of people from getting to the destination in life that they want to. The second that they flip that switch and decide like, hey, I want to do whatever it takes and put in the work, I guarantee you, her won't stop you from getting to that destination.
That's a big statement, right? Now, people, their mindset, they don't believe. Now, I was reading this the other day, the biggest causation of a low self-image. Did your parents love you unconditionally?
Unconditionally? No, there was a lot of conditions.
Okay.
The conditions were, do the housework, do what we say.
Correct. Did they love you no matter what? They liked you unconditionally. They liked you conditionally, but they loved you unconditionally.
You got it.
The biggest issue and the biggest cause of low self-image is people don't have unconditional love. So my mom, as screwed up as everything was, my mom told me she loved me every day. I no matter what I did, how bad it was, I love you, right? And a lot of people, their self-image is low, which means they become a victim because they want to blame everybody else for stuff, right? Which is hard. And then when you give them information, they kind of block it. Like I've real estate, life insurance. Let's use that. Life insurance. I've helped people, hundreds of thousands of people get their life insurance license. And people say to me, what makes them successful? I go, well, the people fill out leads. And when I looked at the lead, I was like, oh, it's Herb. He wants the insurance. He filled it out. Why would he not? And then other people would look at it and go, Bay doesn't want it. He don't want life insurance. Here's all the reasons why he doesn't want it. And then they'd call him and they'd say no. Then I'd call him 20 seconds later and be like, Herb, what's up, man? He'd be like, you just called me. I'm like, no, I didn't just call you, dude. Some other dude did. Hey, you fill this thing out. Herb's like, I already told him I didn't want it. I said, you told him you don't want it. You filled it out. Obviously, Herb, no disrespect, you want it. You just want to make sure I'm not going to lie to you and you can afford it, right? Yeah, cool. See you tomorrow at 6. And it was a mindset. They didn't do anything special. It was just that mindset deal, right? When people were not willing to take no for an answer. What have you seen? So we'll talk to us about what you provide. Like if I'm out there on the internet, I'm looking around, I want to better my situation, right? Let's use me. I was 17 years old, paid my own college, working at UPS, broke as shit, graduated college at 21, broke as shit, got a job at the state, wasn't making any money. I was making enough to support my family, and I really didn't know. I went and found my own information. That guy right now, that 21-year-old, that girl right now, broke, trying to figure it out. What is it that you provide? What is it that you look for, and what is it you can help them with?
I provide direction. And what I mean by that is this. Most of us are going through life aimlessly. So when someone comes to me, the first thing that I want to understand, I don't even want to talk about business. I want to know where you're from, what drives you, do you have family, what are your goals? Once you give me that information, then we could break everything down. In regards to business, this is what it is. Financial literacy is kicking the heck out of everyone's butt. Matter of fact, I'll do this. And I'm going to drop a bar in regards to 401ks. And some people might kill me. I'll see someone that is working in corrections or a government job or some type of job that has a 401k.
Like I did, my state job.
Okay.
Department of Children and Families. They offered me a 401k.
Matter of fact, I'll pull out this image on my phone and I'll show you exactly what I do. So I'll tell somebody, hey, in regards to your life, retirement, are you good? Oh, yeah, I'm good. I got a 401k. I was like, hey, I got a picture that may change your entire mindset in regards to your 401k. And they go, I pull out the photo. Most people don't know this. When you have a 401k or any type of a 401k, let's say you're a 20-year-old. You put $1,000 into your 401k. And you guys could go, this is the age of the internet, fact check me, all of that stuff. You put $1,000 into your 401k at 20 years old. You don't touch it for 65 years. Most of us aren't going to work for 65 years. Heck, in this generation, most people don't want to work for 5 minutes. So 65 years. At the end of that 65 years, you would be 85 years old. You would get probably $148,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. If they told you that money was going to compound on average by 8%, that's what you would get. But what most people don't know is these accounts have fees, you name it. And while their money, and I said their money, is compounding at 8%, your money is compounding at 5.5%. So the disparity of how much you get in retirement and they get in retirement is night and day. So basically, you would get in the neighborhood of 32 grand. The person running the account would get in the neighborhood of 116 grand. And then as you're walking out the door, Uncle Sam taps you on the shoulder and swipes 10 grand. So you leave with 22 grand. Uncle Sam gets 10 grand. And the person managing the fee gets almost 120 grand. Whose retirement is it?
It's not yours.
It's not yours.
Mm-mm.
So if someone doesn't have the mindset and you tell them something like that, or you show them the graph, and I've told people, go pull up your statements. And I had a young lady pull up her statement the other day and say, André, they're not taking 2.5%. They're taking 3%. She started doing the math and she couldn't believe it. Mm-hmm. But some people will be like this, you know what? It's set in stone. Forget it. I don't want to worry about it. So mindset is the most important thing. So when someone flips that switch and comes to me, this is what happens. We work on financial literacy, real financial literacy. Well, we teach you from A to Z how to save, what a credit score is, how to buy a vehicle, how to buy a home, the whole 9 yards. While this may sound like rudimentary to most people, the majority of folks do not know this information. I don't care what they tell you. We have groups on Facebook where people are going in and they'll submit their loan documents and they'll be anonymous, just so that you won't pick them apart, because most people don't want to be picked apart. Most people don't want to be looked at as dummies. It's okay to be a dummy, but be a dummy that asks a lot of questions. Don't be a dummy in silence, because as you start to ask these questions and educate yourself, slowly but surely, you will start to climb the ranks in regards to financial literacy. So number one is financial literacy. Number two is we help you shore up the most important component, which is your credit. We educate you on your credit, and if there's any discrepancies, we do 80% of the work with you, because let's be honest, most people need somebody to drag them along. But you're not a good representation of my brand if you can't explain what happened to you. I don't want you to say, hey, Shawn, you're 21 years old, you got an 800 credit score, you were able to go and do this, you went and purchased a business, you went and got this much real estate. How were you able to do it? I met some Haitian guy named André. He hit me over the head in the alley, and I came out with all that stuff. That's not the kind of guy I want to be associated with. I want you to say, look, I wasn't educated on this stuff. We went through the process. He taught me this, that. I found out that I had a charge off for my AT&T bill. We got that removed, and through the process, we sat down, we structured my business. He educated me. We found a vehicle, and what I mean by vehicle is we found something that I want to do, that I have a purpose and a passion in, and we took it, and we went to the moon.
Love it. Well, first, I love what you said about learning about people. There's an old, you young, but there was an old guy named Zig Ziglar who's now passed away. He said, nobody cares what you know until you know how much you care. And for me, a lot of my stuff, I go back to athletics, right? The coaches that I connected with the most, dude, they knew me. And whether I was performing for them or not, they wanted me to win. And I tell people about your tribe. I tell my kids all the time, use one hand and count the amount of people that pull for you in your life if it doesn't benefit them. Anybody, when it benefits them, pulls for you. But when it doesn't necessarily benefit them, that they're actually like pulling for you, regardless if you outgrow them or not. 401k. Dude, I got my 401k. You want 401k? I got my 401k at 20. Okay? I worked there 14 years. I thought, damn, I'll put some money away. Dude, I knew same thing. Hey, man, it's the way it works. It's the system. I'm not dumb, but it was like, this is the way it works. So I don't care. I go, all my money. They said, you got to be 59 and a half to take it out without. I said, no, but I want the money. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll give it to you. And you know how much money they take out for a penalty?
Got it.
And I went to the guy that set it up. I said, how come you never told me? Because I would never have done this at 21 if you had told me that. How the hell am I know what's going to happen the next 38 and a half years? There's no way I would have pretended to know. And then I realized, shit, you all wanted to do that. You'd make the management fees. You'd take a good chunk of my money when I left. And you'd move on to other people. And we just assume that's the way it's supposed to work. If that's the case, why doesn't everybody that's wealthy only rely on that? And I think that's the part you're talking about, because you're not dumb for not knowing something. You're ignorant. You know, you're uninformed because you've not opened yourself up. So I love what you're saying there. And I think also it's the brand, meaning you have to be really careful, because if you get to meet André in person or talk to him, you play poker, André?
I mean, no.
You should. You have a really good poker face. André is one of the best nonverbal listeners I've ever met in my life. You're just very focused, which means you genuinely care or interest in the information you're receiving. So when somebody's talking to you, you care. Like, you want the information so you can help them, right? And when something is a mission, like when I tell people, if you're building your business to make money, dude, there's nothing wrong with that, but it may not be long for the world. But if you're building it because it's your passion, you're not going to change the entire world by yourself, but you might change a little corner of it and make it a better place, right? So when you see people, André, who don't know the options, and I love what you said, because that's what, by the way, that's what a lot of us have done. That's what a lot of you are doing. I've done it in my life. That's just the way it is. And we assume, I had a guy the other day want to talk politics with me. I was like, hey, bro, let me explain how this works. I never in my life trusted any of them. So if you pick one, I'm not going to argue with you, because you can't get me. I don't care. I trust the tribe, the people I surround myself with, but I don't think anybody gets elected and goes, man, I want to make André's life better. Or, man, I want to make Shawn lives. I think they're all just trying to get elected. And I'm not mad at them. That's their job. Like, we all have jobs. That's their job, right? Get elected, they win. But what's scary is when you go, you know, that must be a good program. Once I started meeting wealthy people, I thought, my mom was like, if it's a government program, it's a good program. Like, it has to be a good program. You should have 401k, anything we had. And my buddy was like, yo, if the government's doing it, they're doing it for a reason. They ain't doing it because it benefits you. They're doing it for a reason. If this brokerage is offering you this, they're doing it for a reason. And nobody, I bet 95% of people at 401k don't know that. They don't know that.
They don't.
That's rudimentary, but they don't know it. And the reason they don't is because they turn their mind to it. So how do we get, André, we have hundreds of thousands of people download and watch it. And a lot of them, when I had my credit card debt, 2008, got my life insurance license. I filed for bankruptcy in 2002, I think, okay? 2008, I got my life insurance license. I lived in a house that was worth maybe a little over $100,000. My Honda Accord had 260,000 miles on it. I hit a deer. That's the only reason I stopped driving. That thing would have driven, I think, 1 million miles. That thing was great. I had maybe $700 in my bank account, okay? And I was trying to just find a better way to support my family. I didn't understand as much as I've done now. I've done that because I was open to learning. To your point, questions. Whoever asks the most questions wins. The quality of your life will be based on the quality of the questions you ask. I'm a crazy good question asker. Like, you get me around you, I can ask you 150 questions, right? What are some questions people should be asking themselves? Like my credit card debt in '08, I put that stuff up so I could see it every day. When I went to my refrigerator, my little refrigerator, I had we don't have these anymore, but like I had magnets I put on my refrigerator, had my credit card, the interest rate and how much I owed. I wanted myself, every day I got up and grabbed some milk or orange juice to go to work, I wanted to know how much money I owed. What are some questions people should be asking themselves before they ask you, but they should be asking themselves right now to get an idea of what their financial situation is like?
Well, to be honest, I think the most important question is this: who, not how. There's a gentleman that wrote a book. I can't think of his name, but who do I have to surround myself with in order to get to the destination that I want to? Because oftentimes, we could look at jobs, for example. Most of us, when we go to an employment, we have no idea. We filled out an application. Half of us lie on the resume. Nowadays, most of us are doing the chat GPT. Chat GPT is just spitting out whatever it can. They pull us in there. So, but there's a guy like this gentleman who pulls us in there and go, hey, that guy's a jerk. This is how you sneak in for lunch. This is where you clock in at. Hey, you know what? That person's cool. This is what, boom. This is a shortcut for this. So we realize that almost in every destination in life, whether it's football, school, and employment, somebody took us under their wing, whether we knew it or not, and showed us the ropes. So in regards to financial literacy or whatever destination in life that you want to go, find someone that you believe is as credible and do your due diligence, because, do your due diligence and say, look, Shawn, I'm ready to go all in. What do I have to do to get to this destination?
Got it. And I'm going to add on, and you said it earlier, had you not said, I still would add it on. Let's use the insurance business. I have all these insurance carriers I work with. And people go, why do you like these ones the most? I said, they know the names of my kids. They know what my why in life is. They know about me because they've asked. And most of the time I talk to them about business, they tend to go, how are your kids? How are things going? I do the same with them. I know their kids' names. I know their spouse's name. I know where they live. And we genuinely have, and it's not faked either and forced, like we genuinely have some semblance of a relationship, which has to be built first, right? Because I love what you said. And it happens everywhere, right? That's a great example. Everywhere in life you go, he's cool, he's not, she's cool, don't talk to her, call this guy first. You want to get it happens everywhere. But people that are looking to mentor you, now if you come into that company and you're a jerk and you're in a waiting room, I ain't gonna help you. I'm not. If I walk in, I'm like, and you're just a straight pain in the ass. And I'm like, good luck. I might even go like, yeah, go that way, which is the wrong way because so you have to figure out in life, how can you because people like to mentor people. People that know stuff like to share it with the right people. They want to pay it forward. They want to feel good about their gift. They want to pass their gift on, but they don't want to pass it on to a jerk. So a lot of times I asked the guy the other day, and I tend to shoot people straight. So I was like, hey, dude, you're just like, you're an ass. And he's like, well, I don't believe that. I go find 5 people, not your wife, in your life that will tell you the truth and ask them if you're an ass. Comes back, he's like, man, they said I'm just an ass. I said, now ask them if you're selfish and greedy with your money. He's like, but I'm not. I go, just ask them. His wife said, I don't even know if I like Shawn because he's a little bit over the top, but you are selfish and you are greedy. And I was like, damn. But you've got to challenge people's thought process so they can change. Dude, I change every day. Every day I get up and I'm like, how can I get better? Every single day I'm like, I'll get done with this and go, man, how can I get better? What could I do differently next time? How can I connect with this person better? I don't ask myself what was my biggest success. I go, what was the biggest mistake I just made? in that deal, that transaction, whatever it happens to be. And in good business deals, both people win. The problem is a lot of people want to screw. You can screw somebody one time. I was in real estate for a long time, bought and sold a lot of properties. People would say, like, why did they call you first? I'm like, dude, I'm always fair. I'm just fair. Like, it's worth this. Let's split the difference. Let's do this. It makes sense. So if I'm out there, André, I'm listening to you. By the way, you have a transparency about you and also an appreciation because were you born here?
No.
Okay. So that's the other thing, dude. Like, at the end of the day, I'd rather be born here than anywhere else. I mean, like, you look around and I think we tend to take a lot for granted, right? This is truly the land of opportunity because it really, as long as you'll get the information, what discriminates is you being unwilling to get the information. And that's who watches them. People that are grinding, trying to become an entrepreneur, trying to become a better. If you have your job, becoming a better employee. One of my deals in my job was I always want to know what the next promotion was. If you don't know the next promotion, why do you have your job? Like, what is the next promotion? How would I get it? How do you know? Networking, having somebody take you under their wing, then you maybe take somebody under your wing in the future. Like, always trying to get better. If that job wouldn't allow me to get better, I'd leave. I'd take a better job. If people are out there listening, connecting with you, which I think they will because you're actually a really good dude, like you're solid. What do you offer them? How do they find you? What do you offer them? What's that look like? And what's the outcome you're looking for just with your interactions with people?
The interaction I'm looking for in regards to people is number one. If you're a good person, come on in. Herb is standing at the front door, so look, you're not going to get past him. That's true. That's true. He's been telling the truth the whole time. That's damn true too. I'll second that. But in all transparency, and this is gonna sound outlandish, I want people to climb the wealth ladder, and that's the reason why I said that. And it all starts with education. As much as we've been running away from education our entire lives, even though America has student debt up to the wazoo, we have to educate ourselves on the core principles. They say most people read and write at a 6th to 8th grade level. Really, in regards to credit, it's rudimentary. It may sound crazy. Pay your bills in the beginning, keep your overhead low, because one thing is those expenses, your income, it goes up and down, but those expenses, man,
true story.
They whoop a lot of our butts. So stay as lean as possible until you get in Shawn's territory. But education in regards to credit, funding, I help people go and get the capital that they need so that way they can make the next move in life. You said something that was paramount in regards to people's mindset. People are always dead set on real estate, real estate, real estate. While real estate has helped a tremendous amount of people come into wealth, for myself, I believe that hold off on the real estate because, look, if you're a dummy, and I'm not calling anybody a dummy, there's a lot of pitfalls in regards to real estate. We're in South Florida. You could get a crooked contractor that run off with your money. The city, depending on which city you are, they could have some whoopee laws and some inspector could come in and blow your whole budget up. So for myself, mergers and acquisition is number 3 in regards to the wealth ladder. And what I mean by that is this. There are a lot of baby boomers that are piecing out. They're leaving. They want to pass on to their business to somebody that's going to take care of their people. And sorry to say, their kids are not going to do it because, they're like, nah, I don't want to do what dad does. I don't want to be a plumber. The kids are not going to pay top or premium dollar for the business. So that leaves somebody like you who has a good heart, who wants to take care of people, but also wants to start building wealth. If you have good credit, some type of funding, you could come in if their books are in order, go get an SBA loan. Now you have a cash flowing business anywhere. We like to deal in the micro area from 1 million to 5 million. Now you have a cash flowing business from 1 million to 5 million. Then after you have some of that capital, then you could go in real estate because you got a little more cushion if you make a couple of mistakes, it's not going to wipe you out and you're not going to start on square one. So that's what I like to educate my students in. And most of all, do right by people and people will do right by you.
And I love what you said about that, because the education part is so important in real life education. Like when I went to college, I went to play baseball. I didn't go for anything, and my mom threatened me. Like, I want to go to the Marines. I did not want to go to college. So I got to go to school. I'm like, I'm going to find a school to play baseball in. I was a business major for a few months, but none of those folks were actually business men and women. They were just teachers. Doesn't make them bad people, but they didn't know what they didn't know. I got into social work because the teachers were actually working in the field. If they taught during the day, they worked at night and vice versa. But I'll give you a real life example. I went to school, studied like everybody else. Got my life insurance license. I'm 6 months in. I knock on the door. Dude opens the door. He looks at me just like this. He looks at me. I look at him. He said, hell no. I said, what? He said, ain't no way I'm letting you in my house. And I was like, why not? He said, nobody told me on the phone you was white. And I said, shit, they don't ask on the phone what color I am, right? And I said, well, I need to come in and go over to life insurance. He said, you can come in, but I ain't buying no life insurance. I said, if I come in, will you tell me why you don't want anybody white in your house? 81-year-old man. He said, I'll do that. I said, okay. We talked for about an hour, talked about his life experiences, and we got done. He looked at me and he said, I ain't buying no life insurance. And I was like, yeah, I know you're not. He said, but I appreciate you listening to me. I said, no, man, I appreciate you sharing, because that's education for me. You know, me, I grew up in an area where everybody was different. So I never thought about it. Like, I just didn't. I'm not stupid. I know what was happening in the world on a lot of levels, but it didn't, for me personally, I wasn't treated that way. And I never treated anybody that way. I got more education in an hour from a man that walked in shoes that I didn't have to walk in than I did in my entire life. And that topic, right? And business, same deal. I've gotten more from an hour of a conversation with somebody than I did in 4 years of business classes that I took as like a minor, because they didn't get me anywhere. But if you want people to want to help you, number one, you have to invest in yourself. And it isn't free. It's not supposed to be free. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, well, why? What are you going to do for me? No, bro. What are you going to do for you? If you're willing to do for you, there's a lot of good people got information out here that will help you. Because what you're talking about, and I love when you said it sound outlandish, because that's how people think, right? We almost have to preface it. It's not outlandish to want to climb this wealth ladder. It's not. But when you're here, it seems outlandish. Last company I built, first month in, I said, we're going to be $1 billion company in 10 years. I had 2 employees. I asked my boy Mike, I said, Mike, what do you think about that? He said, if you say it, I believe it. But, dude, we ain't like made $1 yet. We just hit 9 years. In December. This is our 10th year now. We did about $800 million in paid premium last year, our 9th year. We may miss $1 billion, but it won't be far off. But we always believed we were doing it differently, right? And we were seeking information from people that could help us, right? I love your information. I love your heart, more importantly. I also love your composure. I like it. It's different. A lot of people, like, it's just different. So it's reserved and intentional. I like that. And you're smart as hell. How do people find you? They're out there. They're like, you know what? I want to check this guy out. Actually makes some sense. Information on the pot and punch me in the face tends to be real. I don't go spouting off about trying to get people, because I'll tell you who sucks in a minute too. These guys are always like, you can't do that. I'm like, I do it all the time. All the time. I'm like, he sucks, he sucks, he sucks. You're like, what are they going to do? Come to my house. They better be as big as Herb and they better be able to fight. They come to my house. You know what I mean? Because I ain't bothering nobody. How do they find you? How do they connect with you? Where do they go to get connected with you and talk about this wealth ladder and changing their life?
The number one place that you can go and find me is this. Well, actually, folks, my name is André J. Volcy. I'm going to spell it for you guys because a lot of people probably going to butcher and never heard the name like that. I butchered it.
Sorry.
No
worries.
worries.
My fault.
It's Andre, J for the middle name, Volcy. And the reason why I use that, to me, it's extremely important to remain transparent. If I ever do wrong by you, there's not a lot of guys with that name. You could come and hawk me down in like 2 seconds.
I like that. I like that. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
no
real.
worries.
I like that.
So all social media platforms, André J. Volcy. Shoot me a message in a DM. In regards to the Wealth Ladder, wealthladder.io.co, you can keep going all the little last names. That's myself. And look, I just want to connect. I want to understand your story, what you're doing it for. And folks, just be ready for a mindset shift, because a lot of folks will tell you this, that they want to do something different in life. And the minute you sit them down and go like, look, we'll let you in. I could let you in for $100. If you're not ready for that shift, it won't happen. So look, save me the time, save Shawn the time, and don't BS yourself. If you're not ready to make that switch, it's okay. But we're trying to bring as many people along as possible. And like I said, I keep pointing to my guy Herb. I wish he could be on the mic. Herb came in as a client in regards to fixing his credit. Now he's my business partner. And the moment I started talking to Herb, I was like, look, there's bigger and better things in regards for yourself. Herb said, I'm a truck driver. I want a house and I want a truck, Andre. That's all I wanted. I was like, all right. Matter of fact, I'm going to this convention. I want you to come along with me. And the more he was in the proximity, the more her eyes opened, until one day he called me and goes, look, man, I just fired my job. I was like, say what? It was like, hey, man, I fired my job and I work for you now. I was like, all right, now let's go.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I love what you said. You know, not too many guys. It's not a common name. I do wrong by you. I appreciate your values in the way you carry yourself. You know, I read the other day that the world likes men that can be dangerous but are virtuous. You know, and dangerous in the right situation, right? When that's not about being a big tough guy, right? Guys, find him, reach out to him, because a lot of people contact me and they want to start a business. Well, dude, a lot of this stuff you got to do before you don't have the right credit. You don't have the money. You don't have any access to finances. That's not what I'm doing, bro. I love you. I'm here for you. I had a guy this morning text me. I want to do this and this and this. How do I do it? And I was like, what do you have access to? What do you want to do? Boom. So get on the ladder. I love your concept. I love having you. I appreciate you being on Punch Me in the Face. I really do. Guys, I appreciate you for being on. Always appreciate your time. Like, share, subscribe. Find my man, André. He will help you out. I promise you, and he'll work his butt off to do it. But what I love about what he said is he ain't going to work if you ain't going to work. So if your mindset's bad and you ain't going to work, he's not going to. Don't just stay. Don't give him no money. Just don't. It's not even going to make a difference. He's trying to accumulate an army or a tribe of people that have actually changed their lives. And I like that part, man. So I appreciate you. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you tuning in.